السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you doing?
الحمد لله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Inshallah, we will continue studying the section Yasin of the Quran, and we studied up to the verse 30. We know that the story side of it, which is not important, but just to remember what was going on and how Allah is going to present the subject to us within the context of the story told in the Quran. So we don't study the Quran for learning the story side of it, although there are a lot of speculative interpretations collected from here and there, mostly from Israeliyat, the stories narrated by the Jewish scholars. But we concentrate on what the Quran mentions and how I benefit from it. So we don't lose our time really studying deeply in grammatic structure of it. Whatever. Now, that is our principle of studying the Quran. We studied up to this verse, Ya Bismillah, Ya hasratan ala al-ibad, ma ya'tihim min rasulin illa kanu bihi yastahzi'un. Now, hasra means, oh, pity, what a pity, that unfortunate that such humans who are created to worship God alone, ibad. Ibad is translated in different ways, rarely slaves, but mostly servants. But serving what? To make it clear, I made up this story. Those human beings who are created to worship God. Why did I make a long phrase about it? Because ibad has something to do with worship, but at the same time related to created beings, creatures. But specifically, as far as the readers of the Quran are concerned, the specific audience are human beings. So I prefer to say human beings who are created to worship or for the purpose of worship. We can paraphrase it in various ways. Now we have to understand that sometimes Quran uses this word ibad, referring to every being, every single being of the creation, of the universe, if you like, which is also correct. They are created to worship God. How? Not like human beings, but with their own capacity, within their own capacity. Worshiping God really includes in it primarily acknowledging who our Creator is. That is the really gist, the core of worship, acknowledgement. And the way the creatures present their acknowledgement varies. The birds, as the Quran says, they pray to God with their own capacity as birds, and uses the word strangely, salatihim. So, salat, let's take the word itself out of the context of the verse, related verse, salatuhum. So, their prayers. Of course, it means you can take example that the birds have their prayers, sheep have their prayers, trees have their prayers. How do they do it? By declaring the glory of the names of their creator. This is worship of those creatures. Stars do this kind of worship in the way that they are created, and human beings are also do in the way that they are created, worship in the way that they are created. But as far as the worship of my body is concerned, in its own existence, is not dependent on my choice. It itself, like the birds do, my body also does a worship to God. So it is not my responsibility. It is how the creation is realized. I have to take notice of this worship. Pay attention to to my body, study it, and see how it is declaring the infinite qualities of their creator. We have to examine our body. So let's come here. Just I wondered who are with us, so I will expect them to make comments or questions. Okay. Now, human beings have been given free will, and through this free will, they have to use their human capacity now, apart from body. Now, apart from their body, human capacity. Human capacity is not a physical being, although in their own existence, they declare their worship in their own existence, although they don't have a material existence, but we definitely know that they exist because we are using them, we are practicing them. We cannot ignore and deny their existence. It's a beautiful way of creation that first within ourselves we have this immaterial side of us that we are sure of its existence, but materially we cannot show it. So when it comes to the universe, I have to see the spirit of the beings, if you like. It means their existence, the way they exist, then they declare the qualities of their creator. But as far as human free will is concerned, we have to declare our worship in a way that God has taught his appointed teachers by him to train us how to practice this worship as far as our free will is concerned. So there are lots of ways of performing our worship, not telling a lie, not cheating, not doing something wrong, not really controlling one's passion, not being arrogant, praying 5 times a day in a particular form, and fasting. You all know that much better than I do. So those human beings who are not utilizing the opportunity to receive the message that the messengers bring them. So they killed the messenger. They killed the man who asked them to beg them, saying that, how can I not worship your Lord? Can I have any other things as to be the source of my existence and also as to be the provider of my needs, creator of my needs? It is impossible. But they apparently killed him. It means, for example, we can say, no, nowadays the people don't kill the prophet, do they? No, they do. Of course, how do they do? We know that by ignoring him, completely rejecting his message, as if the prophet doesn't exist for him anymore, although he exists. But what does it mean? The message of the prophet exists. So denying his message, reducing the existence of the prophet to nothing. It means really killing the prophet as far as their own responsibilities are concerned. So someone may say, as a believer, I really believe in the Prophet Muhammad as to be the messenger of God, so I have no problem with him. But when we ignore his message, as far as that part of his being the prophet or messenger is dead for us, which means we killed. Not totally, but partially. You see what I mean? So we have to be careful not to be the murderers of the prophets. That really bothers me, and bothers means really concerns me a lot. So uh, no messenger comes to them, you know, ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. No messenger comes to them, but they ridicule him. They, uh, I mean, take it as a ordinary man speaking some nonsense things. Don't take lots of him. Forget about him. He is somehow possessed, or see, he has some problems. And so they don't really, this is very important, they don't really come up with a substantial response to the message of the prophets if they have any reason not to believe him, not to, or uh, for them to reject the prophet. They never come up with a serious problem, but made up things. Unfortunately, I really keep mentioning this point that nowadays people claim that they have a substantial response to the prophetic message, which really declares it is a falsehood. It means being irrational. But unfortunately, we swallow this. Even we use some of their vocabulary in our daily life, which is really very embarrassing for me to use their language, because they keep using, propagating on every occasion they can benefit in order to kill the prophet's message effect, the effect of the prophetic message. What are they? Natural laws, random development, chance, accident, happen to be. It is always like this. All these terminologies are like saying or insulting the prophet, state you are a liar, as the Quran says. You are obsessed by jinns or some strange beings, maybe, or you are just a poet expressing your emotional feelings and ideas, which has no reality, or accusations, or these languages that the vocabulary that the people, scientists, now the enemy of prophetic message are unfortunately not the prophets who are, sorry, not the philosophers who are really not effective in the society anymore, because the scientists who are enemy of the message of the prophets took the front line, and they are the pioneers of atheistic ideas. Not all of them, definitely, but the materialist ones. And they not come up with their ideas, but they use really some sort of political power and influential political power, arranged everything, and make the atmosphere in such a way that in the social life, they are the authority over everything. You all know that, although it is not our subject, this gender problem, how became suddenly flourished, very the first matter of mankind, suddenly, and they were so aggressive to impose their ideas, even if you are, for example, teaching somewhere where these people are influential. If you are impartial, they accuse you. You have to openly declare that we are right. Why? None of my business. No. You have to acknowledge human rights, but you have to acknowledge my human rights as well. No. Their political agenda to make their vicious feelings somehow normalized, generalized, so that they will feel comfortable in the society, doing all sorts of uh, shameful activities, if you like. I see in New York, especially in Manhattan, they don't not only do what they want to do, but they publicize it. They really impose on other people that they should accept it. So the best way of doing is making it general, publicly practiced, generally practiced by all of them, so that their behavior will be normalized. Exactly the same thing happens in the science area. They use vocabulary in such an aggressive way that everybody has to accept and repeat it. That is a very important thing nowadays. Important belief matter, if you like. They, they believe their own wrong ideas, but it is a matter of a very essence of the social structure of the civilization of today's life of the people, of general public. I believe this aggressive uh, practice of strange ideas, baseless ideas, made up stories. We have to watch out and try to uh, prevent ourselves from the effect of these people. Inshallah, inshallah. All right, let's see this, although I don't use mostly. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I'm following and continuing. If you would you like to say something? Let me see if anybody. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. Now, have the deniers not considered how many peoples we destroyed before them, who never came back to life again? Of course, generally people mention that, oh, those deniers, rejectors, opponents of the prophets were destroyed by God's command through wind or earthquake or volcano eruption or uh, flood. Lots of disasters are, or illnesses, epidemic illnesses among those people. I say, yeah, the Quran describes it literally in this way. That is correct. Okay, but how about me now? I don't see any of them. Oh, they are so aggressive, maybe more aggressive than those enemies of the Prophet in their life, as this is as they are described in the Quran. We don't see it, although today is something more vicious going on, but there is no such destruction, almost at all. I don't see physically. But we have to understand that psychologically they must experience this destroy of their feelings and their comfort, psychological or spiritual comfort. That is spiritual. We don't see, and we cannot talk about it in personal matter and the physical level of existence. But what we know, many generations are destroyed. It means giving death. Take lesson from them. And min al-qurun, it means many peoples we destroyed them who came back to, so them who never came back to life again. Don't you see them? Sort of generation by generation. Yeah, this generation by the Qurun, the centuries, generations, we can say. How many people, it is translated as how many people. It is not a literal translation, interpretation of it, which is, fair enough to understand, but generation by generation, I would prefer to say it. So, إِنَّهُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. They are not coming back. It means they are gone. All right. The deniers say, we are This is an important subject to me. And we have to understand how the deniers can overcome their human feelings by denying the torture after or punishment after their death. First of all, we have to understand that if you, or if someone, but it may be me as well, if I, let me talk about myself, if I define my existence as body, it means I exist as my body. And then think about death. Do you do we not understand that it is easy to overcome the stress of death? How? Or I've seen some philosophers interpreted it in this way. Materialist, atheist philosophers do that. They say, look, we are going to die. Yeah, I know that. Do I feel pain for it? No. Why not? Because in quote unquote or brackets, I am just body. Yeah. When I die, body dies, doesn't it? Yeah, it means the life is taken out of body. When life is taken out of body, they don't accept spirit, but for our own knowledge, and then spirit cannot use this body anymore and leaves it. It means Allah takes body, the spirit from away from it. For example, my typical example is this: when a piece of ice thaws, becomes liquid. What happens? The principle of freezing is taken away from it. It becomes liquid, now replaced with the law of the principle of liquid, being liquid. So they are all arranged in the order of the universe. That's my typical example. I don't have to give it the unknown things from physical events. No, this example is enough for me. So I keep repeating this example. Very, very understandable and physically observable. Why not? So, like this one, my spirit is if you like, the Quran also say the law, emr. It means really, in one sense, it is the command, it is the emr, and the law, principle. So it is not wrong to say law for the spirit and God's emr, God's command. So this is God's command, not natural law, but it is God's law. So God's creation, another type of creation out of innumerable numbers of laws, and the principles of creation are manifested in the universe. So spirit goes away. So body remains uh, without spirit and with no life. And this man says, these people say, look, I disappeared from existence. I wouldn't feel anything. Even if you cut my body, dead body corpse, do you think I will feel anything? No. Try a dead body. Yeah. But there will be no reaction. It means I will die and disappear. Look, we have to be very careful. I mean, I'm saying, look, it is very unkind words. I'm sorry for it. So we have to be careful. We have to watch out. However I define myself, I will be treated accordingly. And God creates that, if you reduce yourself to just a body, then you will be treated as body only. You will say that I'm not going to feel anything. Of course, you will feel in this way, but your spirit will remain behind. No, there's a difference between life and spirit. Life is a general principle of creation. It means life is a law everywhere. Every living being has the same life of principle. But spirit is not general. It is specific. It has a personality, and my spirit is not like your spirit. Whereas my life is like your life. We have to understand the difference between life and spirit. I have my own all equipments of my spirit according to my way of being creation or created. You have yours. We know that my feelings are not like yours, but my life is like yours. I think we have to understand that life is a universal principle of creation as far as the living beings are, animate beings are concerned, whereas spirit is not a universal, especially human spirit. For example, some Muslim scholars in the classical age uh, defended that each species of animals have a uh, special ruh for their species, not individual, but for their species. Excuse me. I wouldn't argue against them, and I wouldn't really say it is nonsense, but practically speaking, it seems to be, but none of my concern. I wouldn't spend even a sentence about it. Why? But it's not none of my business whether, let's say, the horses have a spirit of horse common for every horse. So what? Animal is to be respected. That's it. I learned from the Sunnah of the Prophet. It doesn't bother me. That is why I don't argue. Why should I? But at the same time, understand that in the classical age onwards, all the Muslim scholars were wondering about what the spirit is all about. So they made a lot of endeavors, efforts to understand what the spirit is. But I say yes, I respect. May Allah be pleased with all of them, their scholarly works. But as far as I am concerned, I know I have my spirit. And I know that my spirit is like my life, although individually created for me, custom made for me, because I know that my spiritual experience is completely from your spiritual existence, whereas my life is exactly the same your life. So that is why uh, uh, the medicine the medicine the medical studies one human body and makes a universal law there, universal principle there. No, if the heart has these symptoms, the result will be like this, or the cure may be this or that. They don't investigate everybody. Whereas when it comes to psychology, oh, they all admit that every human being needs a special treatment. Every human being has his or her own universe, not only our life. Their understanding, perception of existence is unique to each human being. This is also interesting that the psychology, although generalizes and puts certain uh, titles for different problems, but they know that the curing of these problems, which is generalized, uh, varies. The treatments vary according to each person's personal spiritual experience of the problems. That is why psychology is a very important branch of discipline of uh, studies. You call it science, and it has uh, many different subsections, must be, although it is newly developing science subject or developing subject and having special departments, but it needs hundreds of thousands of different departments to be specialized. So the future of psychology has, like other sciences, but especially psychology, because it is directly related to human spiritual life, must be studied seriously, and the believers must pay close attention to psychology, the studies of psychology, and Muslim institutions must, I mean, if it is possible for them, rather than spending their time to save people's bodily life, they have to concentrate on uh, human spiritual life, which is much neglected, to be studied from belief perspective. That is side uh, information, if you like, or hope from my side. No, that must be taken seriously. So that is why they don't take notice of the example of the people. I'm coming back to the verse now, which who are destroyed before it died, and they never came back to life again in this world, because he's speaking those people who are enemies of the prophets. They don't believe in the hereafter, although they didn't die in reality. They didn't die. Their body became dysfunctional. That's it. So thrown away. If a tool doesn't work anymore, what do you do? Do you keep it? No. Trash it. Exactly like human body as well. Go and put it respectfully to the grave, but it means really let it rot away. So uh, they don't take notice of it because they think that there is no need to take notice of it. They died and they don't feel anything anymore. Okay. You see, you see, when you take your, for example, not you, somebody loses his leg, don't they always see that they are missing the leg? But there's no leg. Consciousness of it. Yeah, that is the spiritual side of human beings, aspect of human life. Consciousness is not matter. Consciousness doesn't die, is not subject to die. Is common principle of creation of life doesn't die. When I die, there are many newly created animate beings. Life is there. Life doesn't disappear. These individual spirits of human beings also cannot disappear from existence. So he is taken away and they are not coming back. Yeah, although because they see their body did not revive again. But in the following verses, we will study that there are examples of resurrection. It means coming back to life. So these are for resurrection examples. But as far as they are concerned, they define themselves that their body dies, okay, but they don't come back. It means they are going to be destroyed as well. Why don't they take notice of it? Because why should they take notice of it? Death, the reality of death, goes against human feelings, human qualities, reality of death. Now, our friend Savshan says this verse 31 refers to body only. Uh, yes and no. Yes, because the subject of this specific verse is deniers. No, have the deniers not consider how many peoples we destroyed. So in the eye of the deniers, body is not coming back. But as far as the believers are concerned, they will say, I'm not expecting my body come back again. Why? What should I do now? I need a new body because my spirit never gets old. This the old body is, uh, how do you say, um, dysfunctional. Let's put it simply. I couldn't remember a better word. Dysfunctional. And I need a body. Yes, I need a body for a believer. They need a body. Why? Because this is important, and that's why I keep repeating this. Human spirit cannot function. So, for example, life, or my very primitive example, the principles of freezing, the principle of freezing. The principle of freezing, let me put this question. These are important matters that mostly we miss. I mean, I see in the air, in the public, I understand that these matters are missed from the point because not many people mention them. That is why I bring up and spend time on it a lot. When there is no water under a freezing degree, can already existing, we know that it already exists, principle of law of freezing operate? There is no water in the world under freezing degree. Can this law, this principle, operate? No. Spirit is like this. When there is nobody, it cannot operate. So no body is created. So let's say there is no body, animate body in existence. Can life operate? No. The spirit also, if there is no body, but this is a specific creation, the other creations of other uh, principles of creation are universal. But each human body is unique to this particular spirit. But every human being has its own spirit. We can say if someone is a human being, it is universal principle that principle that he must be given an individual spirit. So every human being must be treated as an individual spirit. Okay. We understood that. It's easy to understand. Now, if my uh, spirit loses its body, it means the body where through which it operates. So when my body dysfunctions, my spirit cannot operate. I don't want this old uh, uh, body anymore. I want a new body according to my improved capacity of my spirit. It means potentially it is endless, but improved capacity through my endeavors, efforts, learnings, educations, training. Then I need a body which operates or which can be a means of operation for my body to practice what he has learned, how much he has developed. Now, needing the body is doesn't mean that I need my whole body to recover and come back. In this sense, if a person reduces his existence, then his body cannot come back to it, and he's not in expectation of another body, he denied it. So Allah will give them, their creator will give them a body to their spirit, which will not uh, be in operation to receive any pleasure that I expect from it. For example, the Quran keeps saying that they will be blind, they will be dumb, they will be not hearing, not having the hearing. They will have ears, and the spirit is dying, really begging to hear. They can't. Their spirit will be dying. They can't because their eye is not functioning. That is why existence in paradise and existence in hell must be in body form as well, the spirit in it. And the existence in paradise, the body will be able to operate as much as he acknowledged the quality of its creator, the quality of the creator of uh, I. Who is it? For a believer, it is it is created by the all-seeing one. Okay. For a believer, he will be given a body with an eye, sees everything he wants to see, he or she wants to see. That is interesting that we have to keep making progress in recognition of the qualities of the creator at the highest level as much as we can develop. That is the most essential thing for me. I have to do it. I shouldn't waste my time. I shouldn't. I have to do it. I mean, this subject seems to be simple, but I don't think it is simple. The message it gives, the verses like this, seems to be simple. You know, the deniers not considering how many people they have destroyed before them, and especially if you read the classical commentaries on the Quran or explanations on the Quran, they will keep saying that the previous nations were destroyed as they are described in the Quran. Now, I would take it in a more general sense, universal message that every generation dies and no one is left behind. We know that our generation also we will disappear from this world, so we have to take the previous nations or people, leave it in previous centuries, Qur'an. Yeah, I think uh, if If the answer satisfies you, my friend, is it enough?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, Bismillah. فإن كل لما جميع لدينا محتر, yet each and every one of them, because of this kullun, it means all of them, but individually, each of them includes two meaning, this word kullun. Anyway, one of them are brought before us. It means wherever they came from, they went back. Apparently, and physically speaking, the body is made up of earth, goes back. Spirit is made up of what? God's spirit, as the Quran says. And also, not only because God says so, human reasoning also understand that my capacity is immense, doesn't really get satisfaction with the universe. Really, if you really think about it deeply, if my eye operates perfectly as always, I'm not satisfied with it because I want to see my spirit has the capacity to desire to see more and more and more at the macro and at the micro level to see what is going on. And I want to understand, but what I can understand now, although my desire is to understand the details of every creation so that I will know how the qualities of their creator are manifesting there, which kind of create qualities they are. I want to understand this, but unfortunately, I don't. So it means my spirit needs such a satisfaction that this universe is not enough. What does it mean? Its capacity is not from this universe, although my body's capacity is from the universe. If you take this nutrition or this medicine, whatever, and your, I don't know, some organs improve their functioning, so something to do with earth productions. It means creation through earth. So we have to understand that our body is made up of earth. That the Quran describes different kinds of earth, in different verses, maybe five, six kinds of earth. I mean, very cooked earth, the sounding the earth when they are really, really cooked in high temperature, furnace, for example, then they become very hard. So that when you do heat on them, they make tun, tun, tun noise. They refer, these verses, different verses are mentioning different words, describe different forms of the earth, but different forms of earth. Ultimately, they are earth. Describing the human quality, human psychological situation in physical forms according to the different contexts that the Quran is going to mention or has already mentioned. Quran uses appropriate word for the form of earth relating to this subject matter of that particular context. It is beautiful rhetorical side of the Quran. Apart from this, as far as we are concerned, now our body goes back. Yeah, it is source. Our spirit goes back, its source. So, but of course, not the source of existence, but source of material it is made. How about the source of material my spirit is made? Quran declares this. I mean, we wouldn't be able to understand if the Quran had not declared it. But thank God that he declared that human spirit is from God's spirit. So we have to go back to God. So everybody goes back to God. So human beings will be really will be brought before God. That's what Quran beautifully puts it. In kullu lamma jami'u ladayna muhtarun. Although they deny their spirit, but because they denied their spirit doesn't necessarily mean that their spirit disappeared from existence. They, as far as their worldly life is concerned, they can deal with worldly life by denying their spiritual immense, infinite needs. They can manage with their life on a temporary basis, but it doesn't mean that reality becomes like this. No. For example, let's say there's a pencil here on the table I'm studying. So if I deny the existence of the pencil, doesn't mean that pencil disappeared from the top, on top of my table. Of course not. So, but how Quran explains that they can cheat themselves and really somehow escape the unbearable pain of denial, meaningless life, by finding out a way that we just are bodies. So that makes it, that justifies their disbelief in God and their reality that they are created beings, by reducing their life, their existence to body only, and denying their human side, although strangely they all claim that they are humanitarians. How contradictory it is. There is a very, very famous, notorious atheist, really the pioneer, almost the pioneer of this century's representatives of atheism, blunt atheism. So arrogant man, so arrogant man. He insults if someone says you are wrong. But he is a very tricky man. If someone says to him, or some people argue with him, says, you are denying the reality that the things need to be created. And what the answer he used in one of his videos, I came across long ago. Nowadays, I have no time about it. He said, you are denying science. It's so idiotic way of defending the idea. What does it mean by I'm denying the science? What do you mean by science? Studying the universe. Am I saying that the universe is nothing, or studying the universe is wrong? I am saying your stupid nonsense interpretation of science. He keeps accusing his opponent as the enemy of science, and he keeps using and really exploiting that. Look, all the science discovered, these technological gadgets, and you are using them, and without being ashamed of it, you deny science. Look. I said, this man is like really the magicians of Pharaoh. Cheating. Anyways, claim that, look, scientific research proved what? That's the order of the universe. It doesn't prove that. This order doesn't have a creator. anyway, it is not subject, but we have to watch out, and we shouldn't be disheartened because of this idiot people who arrogantly attack belief in God. Although we believers, we can't be arrogant, but at the same time, we should be careful not to be disheartened because of these people. We have to have or keep our confidence in our belief because we have substantial rational explanation as well as spiritual experience in ourselves, supported by the evidence of the universe. And we are just taking the evidence from the universe, but they are using the universe and interpreting it and hiding behind the reality of existence out there, their own personal, baseless interpretations. So this is something important. Okay, let's go one more. No, the subject changes. Now God will start, inshallah, next week, demonstrating the reality of resurrection with the evidence in creation. But I realized that there is something deep in these following verses, that how they are going to be assigned. There is a sign of resurrection for them in the lifeless earth. We give it life and we produce grain from it for them to eat. But so it seems to be, the plants die, and through their seed, they they are given existence again, but it seems to be resurrection of the same body. It's the same body. So we have to go into details, if you don't mind, and don't get bored of my very, very detailed explanation, which related to our practical life today. I love it because it is practical. Why should I spend time for narrating the historical made-up stories in order to understand the verses? Because it doesn't help me. So I wouldn't do that. I have to go the deep meanings of the ayat rather than wasting a lot of time on grammatic structure. As a result of grammatic structures, what we get from it, that's what we have to talk about next week, inshallah. Any comment, any question, any concern? I would love it. Yep. No? All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you. Inshallah. Thank you, Afshan. I don't like reading appreciative sentences. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhir da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin bi hurmati